All right. Hi, Uzbek diaspora. Welcome and thanks for joining us today for our UD interview series number 17. We're excited to host today's guest, Saidbek Arislonov. He's a programmer, mentor, and popular YouTuber with over 47,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. Most of his online content is in Uzbek, and our compatriots, regardless of their location, enjoy his content, learn a great deal of highly valuable programming lessons. That's part of the reason why we believe this interview will be useful and very interesting to many of you. So, having said that, let's get started. So, how are you doing today, Saidbek?
Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Or I'm pretty sure we're just from different parts of the
Yeah.
world. Doing great. It's Sunday morning. It's cloudy out here in Virginia, and yeah, planning out the day. So doing awesome. And thanks for having me. I'm very glad
Yes.
that we can do something, and hopefully, a lot of people get some value out of it. And let's give it our best. Thank you for
Thank
having
you
me.
so much for coming in. So, I guess to start off, could you briefly introduce yourself to the audience, where you're from originally, where are you right now, and what do you currently do?
Absolutely. So I was born and raised in Tashkent, Uzbekistan. Uh, and right after graduating college, or we can say like a high school and back home, I in 2012, that's first I came to the United States. Uh, the background was actually kind of in medical field. That's where I went to college for the pharmacy, but I was really into like a chemistry, biology stuff. But everything changed once I came to US. Uh, Yeah, so right now I'm a developer. Like there are a lot of people who call it like programmer, developer, software developer, a lot of titles, but they're all the same thing almost for me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working as a web developer for like for the last 6 years, I guess.
Oh, wow.
So in the US, and mostly since I like coding, I love coding, all of that stuff, and I'm also in me, I like teaching and mentoring others as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what drove me to open the YouTube channel, and I have my own teaching and mentorship programs as well, where I help others like actually to get into job in the US, all of that. Yeah, so trying on my best to bring some value to others, not just myself, and yeah, well, something like that.
Wow, thank you so much for that introduction. And yeah, that's definitely a big change going from the medical field into programming. So we would love to obviously hear more into like in more detailed steps how exactly that process happens. So if anyone is interested in like just dropping everything and becoming a programmer or a developer, they can learn that today. So just to
Absolutely.
start, go ahead.
All right, absolutely.
Okay, just to start off, I know you've dropped out of college after, I believe, 3 semesters. So you were in college for a while. Could you tell us a little bit more about that decision? First of all, what made you make that decision? And second of all, what did you have to make sure? What kind of criteria did you have to meet before you make such a serious decision?
Cool. Let's start from the beginning. So I know hopefully there will be people watching this who are maybe just migrated to a different country and just getting started. Maybe they're students or all of that. Uh, the very first, when I started to go into college, I was working for another pharmacy in the US in
Mhm,
Brooklyn.
mhm,
But that's not as a pharmacist, but as like the delivery guy, I can say, like the
mhm,
shipment, taking care of the shipment, some of the stuff. And while there, I attended the college. Like getting into college was a nightmare as well because just coming from Uzbekistan and not going anywhere to learn English, and I was going to exam. I
mhm.
was like, "What is this?" Because I've been only to English courses just with the people just myself, and I was like in the real math exam. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing, or the writing essay. I've never done it because I
Yeah.
never studied for IELTS or anything like that. I failed the first one, and I had to go like 2 month summer preparation course. I forgot how they called it in CUNY.
Mhm.
So the thing is, yeah, 3 semesters. It was tough at the beginning because it was since my major was computer science, and there like a lot of math, a lot of theories, computer itself, and I wasn't comfortable with English very much, especially with
Mhm,
the native speakers. I had a hard time to keeping it up.
mhm,
But the thing is, the reason I dropped off, I'm like, uh, on my last semester, I started driving for Uber because my friends told me, "Oh, Saeed, just drop whatever you're doing and just go for Uber. We're making this much, like 2,000, 3,000 a week." I'm like,
mhm.
"Oh, that's how much I'm making in a month." I'm like, "That sounds good, you know." Uh, so when I started driving for Uber, it's not everything as good as seems like from outside.
Yeah.
because it's everyone. They say like grass is greener on the other side. Whenever you look at somebody else, it seems like it's better for them. Go, they're driving truck, they're making a lot of money. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I do have a truck driver friends, and I know it's not easy. It's not
Mhm.
as they're making money, but I wouldn't do that for myself. I'm
Yeah.
like, nah.
Comes with sacrifices
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So same with the Uber. When I started driving for it, I had to study a lot. There were a lot of homeworks, and
Mhm.
if I want to drive, make more money, my studies were going down. If I want to study more, my money was going down because I was living by myself. I had to support myself, all that.
Yeah.
It's only 3 semesters. There are like 6 more to go. Am I just gonna do it like this? I'm like, screw it. So I had a brother in Virginia here, and he's like, okay, you can come here to live rent free in my house and just
Oh, wow.
study for it, because he has been teaching the QA, like a very similar to IT, but they don't code. They
Mhm.
test what we code.
Okay.
It's like 2010, I guess. So yeah, that's he's one of the very first people to start it.
Mhm.
He's like, yeah, you can study either for coding or testing. That's when I'm like, okay, I'm dropping off and I'm taking like a 6 month off for myself. Let's see where I'll go. And he
Mhm.
took a semester off. And in January, I moved down to Virginia and only studied. That's a lot of questions like I get a lot because I used to ask this a lot too. How long will it take? How
Right.
many hours I have to study? Or
Yeah.
there's no answer for that. It all depends on the person.
Mhm.
How can you contribute? Are you like, the personality is different when people are studying. Are they
Yeah.
like, they catch everything on the first try, or they have to go several times, or
Mhm.
are they consistent or not? The answer is different. For me, it took like 8 to 9 months.
Okay. Okay.
It's very important to time management stuff, kind of like that. That's what I call,
Mhm.
because yes, we are immigrants. We cannot just sit and study. We have to make money, and at least a lot of people have to send money back home.
Yeah.
I do have people reach out to me. Hey, I have 3 kids. I have to really work hard to support them, but can I study at the time? I tell them, yeah, that's what I did. So from 9 a.m. in the morning until 4 p.m., I was just studying either at home or library. And
Wow.
from in Virginia, and I got a pizza delivery job. And
Mhm. Just on the
from
side.
5 p.m.
Yeah.
until late 11, 12, I was delivering because I still have to make money, like pay for my car, my own
Right.
expenses, like, and it paid off. So the main reason keep saying this a lot, it's really, really important to surround yourself with successful people.
Right. For sure.
People around you, like average people, you'll become average too. Like,
Yeah.
I'm doing good. That's what happened to me back in Brooklyn for the
Yeah.
first 2, 3 semesters. I'm like, yeah, somebody's driver, somebody else, they're all drivers. No, I'm fine.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
So,
mhm,
from what you're saying, it sounds like before you made the decision to drop out, you already had a solid plan, right?
I did, because
Mhm.
thank God I had my brother
Right.
who would guide me in the right direction,
Mhm.
who would give me like, okay, do this and do that, because he has been here for longer than me.
Mhm. Mhm. So,
Yes.
I guess that being said, before anyone decides to drop out, make sure that, just like Saidbek, you have a solid plan, you know what you want to do, and not,
Sure.
just drop out and then you're kind of lost. All right.
Don't just listen to some. I've just for the audience, just some kind of motivational video. I'm like, okay, yes, the Bill Gates and Mark
Yeah.
Zuckerberg, they did drop out, but they didn't drop out from a community college.
Yes.
They dropped out
Yes.
from Harvard.
Exactly. For sure.
That's what,
So,
and they're like one in a billion, hopefully.
yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to discourage it, but don't just compare them to Elon Musk or Bill Gates.
For
Just
sure.
yeah, have a reality check.
Realistic. Yeah.
See what's gonna happen after it. Just go and watch a motivation. I'm like, okay, dropping out everything. I'm starting my own business. But you don't have a plan.
Yeah. Correct. Don't rush to drop out.
Yeah.
Sounds good. I know you mentioned in the beginning when you first came, just like any other immigrant, you had, a hard time with English and you couldn't write your essay. Like, what are some recommendations you would have for, maybe new immigrants or people planning to move? How can they prepare or learn English the best? Like, what are your methods?
All right. So the first thing, just speaking English,
Mm.
like spoken English. You don't have to be really good at writing, unless you're coming to study.
Mhm.
The good thing is, a lot of people who are coming here, they already know, because right now in back home, in Uzbekistan, like English is going very well.
Yeah.
There's study centers, and
Mhm.
one thing I'm really glad that Uzbek people, they don't have really accent. But
Yeah,
we cannot be make fun of like other some nationals, you know.
that's true.
Uh, then one thing is absolutely be comfortable with English, at least spoken. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna say be comfortable with the grammar, all of that. Spoken English and something like what do you say in English? So something you learn that you can come here and make money.
Yeah.
Highly recommend like a programming because that's what I do. But no matter what, if you're a project manager or something that will make you better life here, not just go out and just do the hard work.
Mhm.
And there's one thing I do want to mention. I never ever encourage anyone to drop out of college
Mhm.
because I had no chance.
Mhm.
If I had the chance, I would definitely go until the end because still I do see a very great value that college university gives as a developer because not
Yeah.
just a programmer to anyone,
Mhm.
but in just my career, there's a chance without it because all of the other people also encouraging it as well.
Yeah.
But I don't, if anyone says if you can do it, just go to college. The reason sometimes I do say yes, you can do without a college, people reach out to me and I can see that they cannot afford to go to college and they want to hear something, some good news for them. Like, can I go do it without going to college or do I have to? If I tell them, no, you have to go, I just like discouraged and like, I'm not doing it. That's
Mhm.
why sometimes I kind of try to give them a little hope. Yeah, you can do it, but try your best.
Yeah.
We go to mentor or a boot camp, something like that. But I never
Mhm.
encourage people to drop out.
I see. No, that makes sense for sure. And how did you decide your career path in programming? Was it, like financial advantages, interest? Was it a little bit of both? What encouraged you?
It's both,
Mhm.
but my dad, from my very young age, we were the first family in a whole street to get a computer.
Mm,
Because it was I'm talking back in 2002 and 3.
mhm,
The computers were first coming out, and my dad gave us opportunity, all the opportunity to learn. Yes, we were not that rich; we were like
mhm.
normal, but he gave us all the opportunity. We went to school number 17,
Oh,
so
wow.
like linguistics. So 17 is it's free school, but
Yeah.
it was in center, and it was like number one for English
Mhm,
and other subjects as well. But in IT, a lot of people say don't study it if you're only after money.
yeah.
That's what they say.
Mhm,
But they say it, they in their advertisement they say, "Oh, study 5 months and make this much."
mhm,
So what are you encouraging and what are you saying? I say just study it,
mhm,
whether it's financially, because for me, yes, I was like, I have to study 6 semesters more. But if I get this within 6 or 8 months, or you can say a year, I can start making like 90K minimum a year because that's the
mhm.
average to start with in the
Yeah.
US. The money was the motivation.
Mhm.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah.
Something I say, just study it, no matter what your motivation is, if whether you like it.
Mhm,
Same thing, they compare this to Mark Zuckerberg, where like you have to love programming. It has to be inside of you. But yes, but Mark is one in a billion.
mm.
But people who work for him are there for money, not just because they love.
Yeah,
But you can find the love along the way. That's what I did.
that's true.
It's not like I was really enjoying it, but after getting the work debugging, I really love coding and I love teaching it as well.
Yeah.
So that's what my encouragement will be for others.
Mhm, mhm. So,
Don't get discouraged if it's just for money, just do it.
yeah.
You'll find a way.
No, I honestly absolutely agree with you. For me as well, I feel like whenever I'm interested in something, which comes with time, um, when I understand something, I become interested in it. And I guess that's the same thing with programming. You start working, you start learning, you start
Yeah,
understanding,
yeah,
and then it
yeah.
just starts being interesting. It just feels good to understand. And I did want to talk to the audience real quick and say, if you guys have any questions throughout the interview, feel free to drop them and I'll try to, pull them up as they relate to the topic of discussion. So that being said, I think there is a question. We'll get to it right after I ask my next question, actually. So you talk about mentoring a lot, Saidbek, that you mentor people, you have students, and you also have your YouTube channel where you teach our compatriots and, in Uzbek about programming. So could you tell us a little bit about what motivated you to start that, and in general about your mentorship program?
When I first started it, I was back home.
Hmm.
So like I took a break. I went there like for 2 3 years. I was planning to stay there, but things didn't work out.
Hmm.
The very initial thought was to gain some students. That
Yeah.
was the first intention for me because I was trying to open an education center back there. Okay, I'm doing a business here, not going back to US, but that didn't work out because I don't have the entrepreneurial spirit in me.
Hmm.
And that's what I keep everyone saying. Yes, you're watching motivational videos, but doing business is not for everyone. Its spirit is different.
Hmm.
And then I'm like, yeah, so people are trying to study, but there's not enough Uzbek content in IT.
Hmm.
Not everyone can speak English. There are tons of content in English, but not everybody speaks in our country.
Hmm.
So the very first one, like, yeah, let me start with some basic like HTML.
Hmm.
I did a 1 hour video, and until today, that was watched over like 350,000 times. It's
Wow.
not a big, but for a coding class, it's a kind of big achievement because people
Yeah.
are watching it. Like, it's not fun. It's not some entertainment video, like
Yeah.
coding.
It's just useful.
Uh, and people are getting after watching it. Started getting some good feedback and started
Mhm.
growing.
Yeah.
People started asking like, "Man, I was just the first video was just a random. Okay, let me drop it out there and see what happens."
Hmm.
But since the feedback coming good, oh, we want more of this, all of that,
Right.
and I started doing more, and not just coding videos. I started doing like
Hmm.
interviews with others,
Yeah.
how they did it, what they did, not just for motivation, but for the practical.
Hmm. Hmm. I would like to pull something up here on the screen just because it's
Sure.
somebody said, "Hey there, I'm going to thank for Saidbek, bro, because of some of your videos. I was interested in web programming. Now I'm working in IT companies and building my full stack application." So it shows that some of your
Wow.
students and people you motivate really end up doing big things. So I just thought that was awesome. And so to get, let's say, somebody is interested in your class and they want to get started and learn programming. How does it work? Do they just contact you directly, or, and what are some criteria before they can join your class?
Yeah. Um, for my class, for now, is only for people in the US
Hmm.
because I can teach them and I know how to get them into the job.
Yep.
The interview process, all of that, and not just coding. We do also not just me and my brother. We have like a partnership. We
Hmm.
also teach like a project management, the business analyst, the QA tester, production support, which
Hmm.
just different parts of the development team, you can say.
Hmm.
So not everybody enjoys coding. Someone is really good at talking people. So we recommend, okay, become a project manager, business analyst. Like
Hmm.
they report to a upper like CEOs and talking with the team every day. Uh, our consulting company is called the levelupsolutions.com. I
Hmm.
just recently made a video about it because we are starting a new class. They just have to go and sign up.
Hmm. Hmm.
But the criteria is for us, it's about the quality, not the quantity. We do interview every single candidate, and we do give them like a 2 week free. And within a month or so, if we do see them not studying or not
Yeah.
catching up, we just let them go. We're not going to take their money because it's not important for us.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
until today, with my brother and all of that, we've helped more than 300 people to get into
Hmm.
IT job.
I
So that's
see.
pretty much good achievement. They
I
can reach out to me personally as well if they do
Yeah.
want to get the study, but that's only for those who are in the US and have like legal status to work. That's what I have to say.
Hmm. Hmm. So, well, thank you so much for that. But I'm personally, in a finance, like I'm in finance, like major. But today every single field is becoming very like technology heavy, and you're supposed to know some kind of programming or some kind of computer background. Like,
Mhm.
what would you recommend for people in other like such fields such as finance? What kind of programming should they learn, just so that's a skill they have on their back?
All right. Honestly, I'm not very aware of the other like financial, like what they actually do
Yeah.
and all of that.
Yeah.
So the coding wise, I don't really recommend them the coding part,
Mm-hmm.
but if they get the skill, a little bit of the project manager or the business analyst,
Mm-hmm.
so they can get their requirements straight. For example,
Mm-hmm.
financial analysts, they do want some kind of program or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there might be something that they want to give the requirement that will take a year or very kind of impossible or something like
Yeah.
that. Or they can be cheated on by
Mm-hmm.
the developers if they want to go out and just get there someone else to complete their program for them.
Yeah.
Just like management skills, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
because I wouldn't recommend for financial person to start coding because there are tons of majors. Is it a mobile? Is it a web or cybersecurity or this or that? Because they will get lost.
Mm-hmm.
But as a team manager, like either project manager or business analyst, just so they can get their requirements straight and they
Yeah.
can talk to developers exactly what they want and what to expect from them.
Mm-hmm. That
That's what
makes
I would
sense.
suggest. Yeah.
That makes sense. So someone else dropped a question earlier. So they said, I have a question. I'm learning JavaScript and practicing building a website, but having difficulties. What do you think? What should I do to become a better programmer? And I guess to be able to build a website. What are the
Yeah.
best resources?
So you're saying like creating website, I'm a bit difficulty. Everyone is, even I am. JavaScript. That's our job. In a day, we code like maybe 20, 30 lines of code. If you
Mhm.
have to sit down and code, that will not even take you like 2 minutes. But we spend days on it.
Mhm.
So it's good if you have any difficulty. Just I would say just keep practicing more from different sources, different platforms. But if you have a lot of errors coming out or
Mhm.
difficulty, that's our job. The debugging. We get paid for that. It's no matter whether you're junior or senior or whatever your title in development is. We still use Google every day. We still copy from Stack Overflow. That's our sites where we get the answer for our questions. That's what it is.
Mhm.
And I've seen a meme on the Squid Game that they're saying, okay, the next task is coding without Google, and people are freaking out, like the meme from the Squid Game,
Oh yeah.
because we cannot code without a Google. It's impossible, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a Squid Game task for us to code without a Google. So it's no matter. Just keep practicing. Just stay there. That's it. That's our
Yes.
job. We get
So
paid for that.
difficult. Yeah. So you would say difficulties are expected. Not
Yeah,
everything is
absolutely.
just.
No matter what, whether
You're
junior,
still learning
senior,
as well, right? You still even
absolutely.
face difficulties. I see. And wow, you have a lot of
That's great.
mentees and people who you've motivated. They're all saying, hi, my teacher brother, I'm on the right path in IT. Thank you so much for advice and motivation. And, God
Yeah,
willing, we will meet again. So, and then there's another one from Hassan Boy, you helped him stay in web programming and he's now making his own living. So that is awesome to hear.
that's what makes
Um,
me like I've done the right thing. Like, alhamdulillah.
right. Honestly, that is amazing to see that, you've helped so many people and people are making living based on, the advice or the education they received from you. So that's definitely awesome. So someone asked a question. Can you tell me briefly about some projects you worked on and the approach you took from start to finish? So if you can think of anything maybe right now or you've done in the
Uh, yeah. So is it about when learning or in the actual real project?
and the approach you took from, I guess it could apply to both. I guess I just want to know your way of thinking.
So when learning, let's say if someone's learning, there are a
Mhm.
lot of projects like let's say they do like an Amazon clone, YouTube clone project with whatever the language they're learning.
Mhm.
So I don't consider that from start to finish because it's like something small. So if
Yeah.
you just watch 9 hour video and
Mhm.
you're done the next day and you start speaking Indian as well.
Mhm.
Uh,
You said start speaking.
because we have like all these tutorials in mostly from
Yeah.
Indian developers that thanks for them, they're really helping out the whole developer community.
Yeah.
Uh, but in the real ones that I've participated, it's mostly not to start from finish because the way I like it, I like to become like a contractor in most projects. I don't stay in a project more than a 2 year unless it's like a super good because I stop learning. I learn my skills, I raise my price, and go to the next job.
Yeah.
So one of the things were like it's penfed.org. That's what I really like about it, like a Pentagon Federal Credit Union. It's like a bank of Pentagon here. So they have a lot of money, and if they just keep it, it's not going to help them. So they open the bank, so just give it out. So money makes more money for them. So that's what I participated on that, and it's not. I joined like towards the end, but I've done like a lot of UI work on that project. It's mostly in the US. If you go to team, it's like internal projects for the teams. Even for the Mastercard, the project we're building is for like a B2B. It's not for public. The platform built like a business to business, so their business partners create an account and they pay to use that platform and do some kind of transaction. I'm not very aware because we don't go that deep. So that's that. And when I was back home in Uzbekistan, I've done, we and my other developers, like a lot of small projects like e-commerce websites, like a catalog website or some kind of CRM for small businesses. We've done a lot for like education abroad, for the metal producer factory. We done like, but that's like small. Like it's like a 2 month or like a 2 people and done, get the money and that's it.
That makes sense. So now we've started doing this new thing where we just throw in blitz questions once in a while so we can take a little bit of a break. So they're kind of fun questions that don't relate to our topic of discussion. So I'm going to ask you 3 questions. So let's get started. Do you prefer texting or talking?
Depends who it is.
Favorite city? Sorry. What's your favorite city besides the one you live in right now?
Istanbul.
Yeah, Istanbul's nice. Would you rather be able to speak every language in the world or be able to talk to animals?
Any language.
Any language in the world? Great. Thank you. Now we'll get back to our questions from the audience since we have a few piled up. So I'm not sure if you know, maybe he's a big figure in programming, Brad Traversy. Someone asked if you could interview him in person.
That would be great. Yeah, the Brad Traversy he's the owner of the Traversy Media. He's like #1 mentor on YouTube in coding.
Wow.
Like, pretty much everyone knows him. That's a good thing. But I did reach out to him once or twice, but he never responded because he has like millions of followers.
Oh, okay.
That's a good thing. I mean, try to reach him out. Like, why not?
Yeah,
Maybe he'll
keep trying. I mean, he probably didn't even see. I mean, soon you'll get to, up there as well. And then when you reach out, he'll notice.
Absolutely. That's a good thing. I will. I definitely will.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for the question. So let's see. We have a question from Uzbek. He said, hi, first of all, thanks for organizing the event. My question is, can I learn Python and SQL even if I'm not good at math?
So the math required for learning and programming in general, it is required. Like you don't have to be like really dumb for it, but it's not as big as people expect it to be.
Yeah.
It's not like as required as people like, oh my God. But another thing is, a lot of people ask this question to make an excuse for them not to study math. I'm like, people ask me this, I ask them how old I'm like, they're like 12. Dude, you're in school, study it.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to make an excuse? They're like, oh, Saidbek said it's not required, so I'm not going to study. Like, no. If you have the opportunity, just don't make an excuse. Oh, I don't have to study math. Just study whatever you can. Do your best.
So, thank you. I hope that answered Uzbek's question. And we have another question from Shiraz, who's interested in. You're very welcome. We love hosting these interviews. So he says, here's my question. What are your insights on data science? Your 10-year forecast relative to Uzbek market, I guess.
It's really hard to talk about Uzbekistan, like what's going to happen. Or
yeah, you never know. I guess what are your
insights?
That's for sure.
Okay, to be honest, if the question is something that I don't know, I would say I don't know because data science is not my expertise.
Yeah.
But I do know the person from Malaysia. He's like a professor, Anwar Azullah. A lot of people know him. He's the owner of like a Sadak Dev channel. He's a professor. He's really a professor in data science. He's a doctor, like in IT.
Hmm.
I would reach out to him with this question because I won't be able to give the right answer for this question. Sorry.
Good. Yeah, it's always good to, say that when you're not sure of your
Yeah,
answer because
yeah.
better than giving false information. So let's go to our next question. As we know, you studied for 3 semesters at City College of New York, but you haven't completed. Do you recommend us this university to study ML and AI if
Yeah,
you have
ML
a
is machine learning, AI is artificial intelligence.
Mhm.
Do your research before getting into. So all the colleges, I don't know because the last time I've spoken to these guys, like when I was dropping off,
Yeah.
it's also uh, I have during these 3 semesters, I had brilliant professors,
Hmm.
and I had just time with the professor as well, who
Hmm.
would just give us the book. Okay, just read it. That's it. The next day is the midterm. I'm like, well, she's not teaching us anything. Like, or
Yeah.
hey, but I had like brilliant. It would really give us like 110%. Just teach us,
Hmm.
It's not about really college or anything. First, absolutely do your research, and there's like a lot of if you're in the US, they're like websites like a
Yeah.
ratemyprofessor.com, so you can
Yeah.
really find out the research and the reviews about your
Yeah.
professor, and you can enroll to that professor.
Right.
I think in US in every college you enroll to
Hmm.
a professor, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that.
I
It's
definitely agree with that. Even as myself, like I'm right now in college, and I had to do my research before coming to find out, is my school good at business? And we're lucky because everything, as Saidbek said, is online. You can go to rate my professor, but there's just a plethora of other websites where you can find out about what your school is good at, what kind of majors are top, what kind of certifications. Like, we have this ACCSB accreditation at our school, which is like a big deal. So just do your research, look at the things that are important to you. We have this. Oh, I think I was echoing for one moment. All right, so our next question is from Murad John. So Saidbek, yeah, please give your number of best advice for people who started learning programming. This one is a little broad, but what's your top
yeah.
advice?
The there will be a lot of struggle, especially those who started just now. Uh, in my field, there's like a front end. First, they started HTML, CSS. It's very easy because
Mhm.
you change the code, you see the change on the website right away, and like, oh, it
Right.
makes sense. So I'm making the color red, so it's changing to red. Where I'm adding the space, it's adding a space. Makes sense. And now once they jump right into like JavaScript and React and others, they were like, it was a situation like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? It's
Mhm.
not. It doesn't seem like practical. Just stick with it, an hour a day, 2 hours a day for 1 month, 2 month, 3 month. You will see the result. That's
Mhm.
what I would go with. Even if it doesn't make sense, just keep doing it. It will make sense once you get into that. Oh, that's why it was. Nothing is
Right.
unnecessary.
Mhm.
All the logic behind it. I would say just stay consistent and just don't stop. The one thing is stop taking advice from everyone.
That's true.
My students get very confused. Oh, this one said this and that one yes, because
Yeah.
that one is Python and this one is JavaScript. They're not going to give the same advice.
Right.
Just follow one person. Okay, if it's Python, just follow this person. If it's PHP, just go with PHP no matter what. Oh,
Mhm.
I'm learning this, but this guy said this. Like, screw it. Don't listen to them. Just go with one. Stop taking
Mhm.
too much advice because 100 people are gonna give you 100 different advice, and you're gonna okay, you're gonna waste time.
Mhm. Makes sense.
Yeah,
That
that's
makes
what I
sense.
say.
Thank you. Your answers are very thorough, so that is very helpful. And I see a lot of new people join, so I just wanted to mention we are doing Q&A session as we're going, since Saidbek is here to answer any of your questions and share his knowledge. So feel free to drop them in the chat box under the comments. So let's move on to the next question. And we do have people watching from Uzbekistan, or they just have questions in Uzbek and we don't want to ignore them. So I'll bring that one up and you can answer in English, in Uzbek, whatever you prefer. So assalomu alaykum. Hozirga erishgan natijalaringizga qayerdan kuch va motivatsiya olgansiz? Javob uchun rahmat.
Okay, I'll say it in English.
Okay. To keep consistency.
The motivation, it just comes when you're really tough situation for men. I don't know about women because the for females and women, it's still like you have your brother, father, and you
Mhm.
don't worry too much. But as a
Right.
man, you're out there by yourself and you have to make money. The money is the motivation. That's what I say. A lot of people may not agree because, as I
Yeah.
said, they say, "Oh, don't study for just making money. You're gonna drop off." Fine
Mhm.
if you drop off, but most people will stay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, it's motivation and just your perspectives in life. What do you
Mhm.
want to do? Do you want to stay in your currently doing job for next 5, 10, 20 years?
Mhm.
My answer is, well, I don't want to stay for the 1 year at that time. I don't want to become a delivery guy or pizza delivering.
Yep.
I remember I was at pizza store that we worked for like 6 to 8 months. It was a good time still with making
Mhm.
friends, all of that. I saw a flyer that the old guy, like 50 years old, they're advertising. They're trying to get more delivery drivers, so they make a
Mhm.
flyer putting that guy. He's in different state for the same pizza store. I've been driving for this pizza store for 30 years. It has been a good journey. Blah blah. I'm like, that's not motivation.
Yeah.
I don't want to be doing this for the next 30
Yeah.
years. So that's the thing. So what are your perspectives and what are your plans for next 2, 3,
Mhm.
5 years? And just that's the motivation.
Mhm. Thank you. Hopefully that answered your question, Sanabaj. So now I had another question I wanted to ask you. I know you were recently in Uzbekistan, and maybe you have an idea, but I was just wondering, how is it? How is IT evolving in Uzbekistan? What do you think the government can do to improve the education level? Especially in information technologies. What kind of improvements do you think need to be made?
Yes. Let's call it like a pool. So they're like a mid-level developers pool, seniors
Mhm.
and juniors, right?
Mhm.
Right now, the IT, the most improvements are done in teaching.
Mm.
A lot of education centers, the new ones keeps opening up.
Mhm.
So the junior pool is really filling up. There are like a lot of juniors.
Mhm.
Like, there are very, very few mid-level and seniors because recently the startup from the Silicon Valley, like Uzbek-based startup,
Yeah.
they try to hire like a React developer, like senior, and they're
Mhm.
willing to give $3,000 salary a month. For Uzbekistan, this is really
Wow.
good, really
Yeah.
good. They really struggle to find one. There's
Wow.
a lot of juniors, but seniors very few, and they already have a job or they already moved out to make more money
Yeah.
outside Uzbekistan.
Mhm.
So what I would say is the government or others, they should make an opportunity for those juniors to practice.
Mhm.
Recently in Mastercard, I was thrilled. I'm like, that's a luxury. Mastercard, Chase, and some other financial companies,
Mhm.
they started something called uh, I forgot the name of the platform. I'll make sure to jump on to put on the comment later.
Mhm.
What they're starting is they started to bring into practice the high schoolers.
Wow.
We have a student from high school within our team who's working from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Wow.
And my manager, like, we didn't have this luxury, you know.
Yeah.
A
Wow,
high
that's
school
awesome.
student gets to practice in Mastercard. Like,
Wow.
I was like, why we don't have it in our country?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great opportunity
A
for
lot of
sure.
students, even after graduate the university, it's hard to find a job. But
Yeah.
if they provide, and it's a student. She works only 2 to 5,
Mhm.
and we make so not fun. It's so funny because it's like having a small kid, in your
Yeah.
team. We talk to each other. Hey, Drew. Like, hey, Keith. Hey, Elizabeth. And she's like, hi, Mr. Drew. Like, talks. So he's like
So
small
formal, yeah.
kid.
Oh, that's awesome. Wow, I didn't even know about that. That's definitely a great hands-on experience for high school
Yes,
students, and that I'm sure develops very proficient developers in the
it
future. So that's
is. It's
awesome.
very good. Just imagine from your high school, you're in Mastercard.
Yeah.
The next step
Wow.
is in
It's a
big.
dream. Mhm. That's already
The
sets you up for
luxury.
success. That's awesome. And I know you mentioned about finding a senior developer in Uzbekistan. There's a question that relates to it. So, do you think it's possible to get a job from USA remotely as a web developer if you live in Uzbekistan? If so, please some advice to get it.
Okay, let's be realistic here. All right, it's very hard because in order for U.S. companies to hire you from Uzbekistan, you have to be like exceptional developer. Like,
Yeah.
they cannot find someone like you in the U.S., so they had to go out and hire you.
Yeah.
So one, there is a freelancing opportunity. One of my friends, Saidbek Ibrahimov, he's doing a really great job. He makes money on the Upwork,
Hmm.
and he has a team of 20 people in Uzbekistan. So he gets the projects, does it. And recently, there's a Forte Group. I'm really proud. The Forte Group is a consulting IT company globally. He got
Hmm.
to make a deal with them, and they're opening their branch in Uzbekistan, just like EPAM Systems, if you heard
Yeah.
of it. So more and more companies are coming to Uzbekistan, but they're hiring. But if you really want to work for US company, you really have to be like exceptional. Like we have uh, the lead code, the website, where you very complex tasks, which doesn't make sense, but you have to be really able with algorithm data structures. It's hard, even I can't do it.
Hmm.
But if you fill up your portfolio, your profile that you solved all of it, and you really show they will reach out to you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Don't put your expectations too high. Just lower them a little bit. That's what I say to my students.
Hmm.
Because they keep hearing these advertisements. Oh, if you study 6 months, you're gonna make $500 a month.
Yeah.
And I see the posts on Telegram groups. The students, they're like, "Oh, I know React, this, and the minimum salary I'm expecting is $200." And I'm a student. Like, no, dude, that's not gonna work out because you don't have the experience yet.
Hmm. Hmm.
If you really want to work for USA, you have to be exceptional developer.
Yeah.
That's what I say. If
Yeah.
not, go to freelancing jobs. There are plenty of work. Like
Hmm.
as I said, Zafar Bek, I forgot to say it. He put out the course out there.
Hmm.
He teaches from A to Z for existing developers
Hmm.
how to get into Upwork and get a project from US, and they pay decent money, like $20 to $30 an hour.
Wow.
That's pretty good for Uzbekistan.
Hmm. Hmm. That is awesome. That makes sense. And honestly, there's probably a lot of legal complications with hiring someone from a different country as
Yeah,
well, just because
that's
I have personally interned and they would always say stay within the location where you're interning and you cannot go outside the country. So I guess that makes it difficult. So as like Big said, unless you're exceptional, they're not willing
yeah,
to go through
yeah.
those challenges.
They will take care of you. They will bring you to US.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But it happens very rarely.
Yes.
So we have another question that you kind of addressed earlier, I guess. Uch yılda içinde middle derecesiye çıksa bo'ladimi? I know you said it's personal.
Okay. Yeah, it varies from person to person.
Yeah.
For me, it's not about years of experience
Yeah.
to develop this.
Mhm.
I know people with 1 year, really, they started learning 1 year ago, and now they're working and they're mentoring others and they're producing their own courses.
Mhm.
So I know people like 5, 6 years, they're still in middle. It's all about experience.
Mhm.
So once you uh, finish the course, as I said, in Uzbekistan right now, there are a lot of courses,
Mhm.
whether it's front end, back end, the development, but the practice they do in the class, it's not so big.
Yeah.
But what I really want, that's another thing for the government and others, to provide opportunity for those juniors to gain experience in real projects.
Yeah.
That's what really gives. In coding, it really matters. We call like a spaghetti code when you don't care. If it works, just works, it's fine.
Mhm. Mhm.
But it has to be like a neat, best practice based code writing. It's not
Mhm.
just about whether it's working or not. Your
Mhm.
style guide, there's because in big companies, they go like line by line. It's not about if your task is completed and it's working, the feature is working. They go through the code.
Mhm.
Don't use this, don't do that.
Oh wow.
And, and I have seen that a lot of people don't teach that.
Mm.
It works, it works. That's it.
I
It
see.
works.
I see. That makes sense. So I guess for you to get actually good at, seeing the lines, getting everything right is practice, and that's what we're lacking. We're
Absolutely. Practice
more
with
real
mentorship,
hands-on
with the team.
practice.
Yep.
Makes sense. So we have a question from Michael. Is it possible to cover one's basic needs with part-time job while studying in college in the US?
That's again comes depending on whether you're on student visa or a green card, whatever it is. If you're like a legal status here, like a
Yeah.
green card, no matter what, you can make a part-time job, and yes, you can make a living.
Yeah.
But if you're on student visa, I'm not very sure that if you're allowed to make money or work. unless you're working for cash, which is very, very rare to find
Mhm.
nowadays. That's not a question for me. That's more like to ask from immigration stuff.
Yeah, but just from my personal experience as well,
Huh?
obviously it also depends where you live, what country, I mean, what
Yes.
state you live in. Certain states are more expensive. In New York, it's more expensive than in Connecticut, for example. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, if you have, a part-time job, then, maybe somebody else is supporting you with rent because rent can be expensive. But it's definitely doable. It's definitely doable. And you can even do full-time studying and full-time job, which I don't recommend, but I've done that when my job was remote. So there are those opportunities.
Yeah.
Uh, so someone else asked the question, um, saying types of learning styles you did. I'm not exactly sure if they're referring to. I guess what was
Yeah.
the resource you used again?
The learning styles you did, everyone should do what they're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
Because I totally get this question. I used to ask this a lot when I was studying.
Mm-hmm.
What should I study? Do I find someone? Do I have to study by myself? Or how long will it take?
Mm-hmm.
There's no answer for that. Uh, the people ask me, should I go to college? Should I go to boot camp? Or should I study by myself? Like, what
Mm-hmm.
type are you? Are you someone who's really dedicated, like with all the passion that you don't need someone to keep pushing you? Do
Mm-hmm.
it self study.
Mm-hmm.
Just spend like maybe a couple $100 on courses on the platforms online. Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're my type, find
Yeah.
someone to keep pushing you.
Yeah.
A lot of people are lazy and they just keep, oh yeah, let me just go on the phone. Oh, I'm tired.
Yeah.
And if you go to college, they will really push you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about US. Yeah, back home, it's not very the best one because with the bribery, with all that, you can just go through it. But in
Mm-hmm.
the US, if you don't pass it, you have to study the same semester again, and you have to pay again. So they will make you to study.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So you have no choice. Even if it's a boot camps, it's
Mm-hmm.
expensive, like
Yeah.
10,000 to 15, $20,000.
Mm-hmm.
They will push you and they will make you to study.
Yeah.
The style you make your own based on your personality.
Mm-hmm.
That's my answer.
That's a great answer. Thank you so much.
No problem.
And we have questions flying in. We have another one from Faris. So he says, Hi, Saidbek. What are the main things to look for when applying for a job in a foreign country?
Okay, let's say I'm in the US. I am trying. I don't want to make too much money to hire from US, and I'm trying to hire from overseas. The number one thing I'll look at the portfolio, what they have done, the resume. That's my next target to make they make a video on how to make a resume.
Mm-hmm.
In Uzbekistan, it's not the best practice.
Yeah.
There's a need, so they put their picture, they put the home address, and they put like no need for that. I
Yeah.
want to look at your professional stuff. Just show me that. I don't care where you live, your address is, or I don't. I see people putting their passport numbers on theirs. I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Wow, I didn't know that.
And I'm like, yeah, don't be surprised if tomorrow somebody's scamming you or using your passport or
Oh my
something.
gosh. Yeah.
That's what I'll tell you professionally. What are you good
Mm-hmm.
at? And if you're junior, that's what I keep telling people. Have a portfolio. Okay, you don't have experience? One, just imagine your perfect customer who's
Mm-hmm.
coming to you. Okay, they want what do you want to really do for a customer who's ready to pay like $5,000? Whether e-commerce or CRM, just do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
do that, spend month or two, just don't expect everything to the money come in within the 3 months and just put it out there. If there are a lot of free hostings, they can put it up. And when the when I see your work, oh, that's really good. To
Yeah.
have an open GitHub portfolio, and even that, what's really going to catch is I've spoken to Farooq Hakem, who
Mm-hmm.
works at Google right now. He was in Amazon before. He
Wow.
made a video for me how to get into Google and Amazon with the free courses from top universities.
Mm.
That's exactly what he did himself.
Oh, wow.
In the US, he studied for data structure algorithm stuff from the MIT, Harvard. They give out a lot of free courses, like pre-recorded courses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That will take time. It's not just like a Udemy course for 10 hours you study
Yeah.
and done. That will take a really good math and all of that. If you really want to be the best, as a
Mhm.
programmer, developer, then you want to get hired by the US, just complete those courses
Mhm.
and have your portfolio to boom.
Yeah.
If I'm seeing a portfolio and I see 3 certificates of completion of those Harvard studies,
Mhm.
I'll be like, let me interview you.
Mhm.
That's the first catch. If
Yeah.
you're the same as 100 other students, I'm not gonna even see you.
Mhm.
You have like same exact 99 other candidates. But
Yeah.
if you put those out for me, okay, this is it. This is my lead code account where I've solved like 200 different problems with the medium to hard level.
Mhm.
That's the guy I want to talk to.
That makes sense, and that goes right into our next question as well. So hopefully that answered it. Somebody was asking, can you afford some tips for those who are learning on their own? You just mentioned those courses by Harvard and so forth. Is there
Yes.
anything else
Uh,
you'd like to add?
for the regular developers, I would say if you're just the front end, the Udemy courses and YouTube are sufficient enough. But if
Mhm.
you want a really deep level, like become a real programmer,
Mhm.
those like algorithm, data structure, those really require math. And they do require like it's not just you cannot just finish them in 9 hours. It
Mhm.
really requires like days and months. And people are not getting that's the reason to go to college. If you go to college, first 1, 2, 3 semester, they study with that foundations.
Mhm.
But if you want to go to Udemy, they're just gonna start from the top, what's actually needed. You can get the job, yeah, but you're not going to foundations, just like myself.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what it is for me.
Makes sense. Well, thank you. And we have a question again from Michael. He's asking about your opinion. Why is there very little number of Uzbek game developers working in companies which make AAA games? Not sure what AAA games are. Maybe you know.
Triple A. I'm not into gaming, so I don't know that either.
Okay. Okay.
But it's not just for gaming companies. In top tech companies, they're not. You can count them with your fingers. The
Hmm.
Uzbeks.
Hmm.
That's
Okay.
that's what we're here for. So let's do it. So let's encourage others. Let's get into tech. I'm
Hmm.
not gonna say let's open our own Google. No, that's maybe in the future. Let's not go
Hmm.
that high to
Yeah.
start with. But we have to make sure to get into Google and big tech companies.
Yeah.
And what's my plan for next is I'm reaching out to those people who work at Google, Microsoft, all of that.
Hmm.
Okay, don't just keep it for yourself. Teach
Yeah.
it.
Sure.
Teach
Yeah.
it to me. I'll record it and I'll put it on YouTube so others can
Wow.
benefit from it. There are a lot
That's.
of topics like systems design or I like a project management, how it works in Microsoft, this and that.
Hmm.
Because we're just getting into IT. We don't a lot of in Uzbekistan, those who are coming to US, they're studying. It's not
Hmm.
so popular.
Yeah.
But that's what we wish we should do it.
Hmm. Well, that's amazing to hear that you're so, open and willing to share your knowledge. In fact, you're going out of your way to learn new things so you can share your knowledge and teach it to our compatriots in their, in the Uzbek language so they can have that content. So that's awesome. Thank you for that. And I had one question I want to ask myself. So, what do you think of the future of, IT? What are some emerging trends? What do you see IT like evolving in the next 5, 10 years?
Sure. The one thing I'm really into, the Oculus Quest, right? It's
The
really
what?
awesome. The Oculus Quest by Facebook.
Oh yeah.
You put it on
Mhm.
and it's so awesome. I love it. The virtual reality. I don't know what's coming in 5, 10 years.
That's true.
If this is what's now, it's so awesome. If you put it on, you're like in different world with
Yeah.
those controllers. Uh, I
Mhm.
might be sound a little childish, but I can imagine like in 5, 10 years, if you go on a field, right? You
Mhm.
put on the mask and you put the swords and you're in
Mhm.
a battlefield of the history.
Wow.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That's actually, yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Or you hold a gun and you're really fighting with others, but in the virtual reality, in case
Yeah.
there's nothing, it's coming. What I compare this virtual Oculus Quest right now, it's really
Yeah.
big, right?
Yeah.
Like first Nokia phones, they were like huge.
Uh-huh.
And now it's getting smaller, and this Oculus as well. In 5, 10 years, it'll be just a glass. You put
Yeah.
it on, and you're in a different world.
That's insane. That's
That's
insane.
what I'm like really looking into.
Yeah.
But in development stuff, what I'm doing, It's really important to keep up to date as a programmer.
Mm-hmm.
Technology is changing every day.
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago, when I was getting a job, it was very easy to pass the interview. It was
Mm-hmm.
just JavaScript front end and some framework, and that's it. You're good. But
Mm-hmm.
now there are a lot of requirements like CI, Jenkins, and automation stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
technical stuff. There are more and more for us to teach.
Yeah.
But personally, I'm really looking into that virtual reality stuff. I don't know what's
Yeah.
in 5, 10 years. I'm like, wow, I
I
can't imagine.
Yeah, I definitely never thought into it like that, just because I know it exists, I don't really think into it. But now that I'm thinking like the things that are possible as we advance in this,
Yeah.
it's insane. Yeah, when you said that, I started thinking like you could literally be in this space with just a glass on your
Yes.
eyes. Like
Yes.
that's
Yes.
insane. Wow. So we have another question coming in from Abbasbek, who's asking, are you going to do online courses for learners in Uzbekistan? And another question, are you working at CIU in Tashkent?
Yeah. The course is in progress because people were asking for it to make a paid course. There was a demand. I'm like, yeah, why not? I'm gonna make it very cheap,
Mm-hmm,
very affordable, and those who cannot afford, it'll be free.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, this is not for money. Yeah, there will be a lot of money to be made there, but uh, a lot of people still cannot afford it. They're gonna ask for free, or those who do, or even there's some people who be just download the course and just
yeah.
distribute it for free for everyone without my
Mm-hmm,
consent. That's typical.
mm-hmm,
And the CIU is like a Cambridge University in Tashkent. I don't know the full name. I was
mm-hmm.
teaching for them online uh, last semester. This semester it didn't work out. Maybe from next semester, but I'm not very sure.
Okay.
It might be online.
Okay. So you are planning something. That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just look forward to that. Follow Saidbek and his content closely, and you'll find out. So we have a question from Bigzad as well, asking, what are some of the skills that a person should know when he works at the interface between IT and business, like requirement specialist?
Oh, that's exactly what the business analyst does.
Mm,
Business as a person, like I'm a developer. I never talk to a client in a team
mhm,
because the client would not be able to explain his words to me.
mhm,
Whatever I say, I won't be able to explain to a client technically. So
yeah.
there's a person in the middle called business analyst. He talks to a client, gathers the requirements,
Mhm,
and kind of translates it to us
mhm,
technically. So he creates the stories for us, task, or this. And at the end, he does the acceptance testing of
mhm,
whatever we create. So that's called like a business analyst. So business analyst, you have to be really good at talking.
mhm, mhm.
As a developers, we're like more like introvert, and
Yeah.
most developers we just don't bother me, just let me code, and that's what it is.
Mhm,
That's why they're like different special people for talking with the clients and the developers and just gather them and being the bridge in the middle.
mhm,
But
mhm.
they are good at talking, like communicating with
Right.
people, pitching in ideas, all of that.
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah.
May I ask, what's your favorite part about your job? It could be, whether it's the job itself or the fact that you can work from home. Whatever.
Oh, that's number one,
Yeah.
working from home, because that's what I've been taking advantage, going back and forth with my country.
Yeah.
And it depends from a company to company, but the
Mhm,
company that I work for, they don't care
mhm,
unless it's they said we don't care where you work from, unless like 6 countries like uh, North Korea was North one, right?
mhm.
So there are like some countries where they have like conflicts going on. We don't allow these countries, but anything else, just work wherever you want to work from.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's one. Another one is working from home. The two, it's not hard.
Mhm,
You just sit on computer. Yeah, it becomes stressful. It's not the best. The debugging and you fall behind the sprint, behind the deadline, and the whole team is waiting for you. It happens sometimes, but that's
mhm,
the work. That's the culture.
mhm.
And coding, debugging, and making something, that's the best part. Like for the big company, I see on the websites that I worked in the previously, I made this part. And other one that I really love is like mentoring. But there are a lot of things that is not really coming to my mind. But the coding and is it all good, or did I lost you? Hello. Okay. Yeah, looks like it's all good, but nothing is happening on my side. We're still live. Looks like you're having okay, it's all good now.
Yes, I'm not sure what happened there, but I got kicked out. All good. Alrighty, so another blitz, real quick. Let's take a break so our technology can take a break as well. It's a break.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, how long does it take you to get ready?
For what? That's the question.
Just to get ready to go out.
5 minutes.
Address.
The
5
max.
minutes? That's fast. Scale of 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
8.
Okay. Fill in the blank. Elon Musk is.
Genius. That's what I
At
was
what?
saying.
I have 2 more for you. At
Yeah.
what age do you want to retire?
35.
35. Okay. Why can't we tickle ourselves?
Can you repeat that?
Why can't we tickle ourselves?
Oh.
I don't know the answer to that one either.
Yeah. The answer should be like scientific, right? Because there's
Yeah.
biology. This.
That actually made me think. Wow. All right. So we have a lot of new questions that came in. So let's try to address some of them before it's time to wrap up. I guess if you're free, we can be on for next 5-10 minutes. Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Let's answer some more questions then. So Abbas Beg said, hello, Saidbek. Yeah, are you going to do online courses? Oh, sorry. I already had one.
Yep.
I had this one. Oh, okay. Here you go. Are you planning to go back to Uzbekistan and do your own business like any tech company? Do you have any plans?
For sure, I won't be opening the education center because I already tried, failed. It's not because failure, but I want to do more on the online. On my studies, that's better. Because I don't want to go and compete with those giants right now because they're like a lot of best ones. And the new one opened like Astrom Academy, like School 42 here. I'd rather take advantage of their students by selling my course to them,
Yeah.
That's a better option. Like, I don't want to deal with paperwork, bureaucracy, and all of that. The tech company, I already have it, but I'm not talking too much about it yet, but we're close to success. Maybe it will come to the point where I'll be like taking proud and talk about it. It's on the progress yet.
Makes sense. Great. Thank you. Thank you for giving that outlook. So I guess what are some things that people, specifically, developers, need to look for in an employer? So if they're looking for a job, how can they know that that's the right job for them? What are some things you looked at when you were getting hired, looking for a job?
Cool. Let's answer this question based on the US. So I'm going to assume that this answer will be of someone who's in the US and who has a legal work authorization and looking for a job in the US. So number one thing is when you talk on the interview, it already comes out. On the interview part, they can ask you a lot of questions, but at the end, they're going to leave you a question like, do you have questions for us?
Yeah.
That's really important. Recently, I got interviewed for, I think I can tell an name, for Walmart. They didn't even leave me a second to ask them a question. Like, we started the interview, I'm like, okay, hey, that's your task, do it.
Oh, wow.
Like, whoa, that's really kind of rude. And I did the task, all of that, but they still rejected me. And I would reject them either if they were extend the offer to me too, because that's very rude and all of that. But they were in the Mastercard. I keep telling this a lot. I had 3-stage interviews, 1 hour, half and half.
Yeah.
We just talked. Can you imagine?
For that long.
Wow. In the interview, there is not a single technical question because usually they ask us technical stuff.
Yeah.
They give us tasks. Okay, solve it live while I'm watching. And with my manager right now, we just talk for 1 hour.
Wow.
I love this team. If they want to hire me, that's the team I want to be in.
Right.
Because they're not expecting only tech stuff, only like a worker. They're looking for a teammate who they can enjoy having a lunch together tomorrow or talking, just having a cup of coffee on a lunch break, So you're not just employer, you're just part of the family. And on the other interview I had, we talked about video games and what the best burger in the US. I'm like, dude, why did you ask me questions?
That's awesome. So it's very personal. Yeah. Very open discussion.
Yes, it's gonna happen all the time. But if you find that team, just get into it because
Yeah.
that means they're really willing to teach you, even if you don't know. They're
Mm-hmm.
willing to accept you as a part of the team, as a family member, not
Mm-hmm.
just as an employer who
Yeah.
does whatever is dumped on you. You know?
Mm-hmm. So you can kind of get to know, get a feel for what the company and the team you're going to be working for is like by just the interview process alone, right?
Absolutely.
Nice.
But if it's your first job,
Yeah,
I would not choose. Just get into
it's true.
whatever the job offer you get as a first job, just to gain some experience. But once
Mm-hmm.
you gain that experience on the next third, fourth job, you'll be like, okay, I'm choosing now.
That makes sense. Thank you so much for that advice. Just addressing our audience, we have about another like 5 minutes that we're going to be live. So if you guys have any last minute questions that you would like to ask Saidbek, please feel free. Meanwhile, I'm just going to ask you, who inspires you? Do you have someone who inspires you, or is it yourself or your future self? How would you answer that question?
Um, yeah, there are like a lot of people that I look up to,
Hmm.
but I'm not gonna say it's like a one particular person.
Hmm.
Yeah, there are like a lot of Uzbek people back home. Number one thing is my own brother who helped me from the beginning.
Yeah, yeah.
And number two is there are some business people in back home, like Mijoneke. He's the
Hmm.
founder of that CIU University because I was partnered with him when I was there, and
Hmm.
he teaches me a lot too.
Hmm.
It's just all the good people what I keep looking.
Yeah,
But
you just.
all the time, just I try to look people above me. So not there's
Mhm.
someone down. Not like I don't want like the up and down people, but who's more successful than who achieved more than me. I just look up to them and just get the best out of it because there's no perfect person.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's what I go with.
Makes sense. Well, thank you so much. It's like, you get something from everyone, right?
Yeah,
So you see
yeah.
somebody's good at something and you're like, you know what? I should work on that. And yeah, that definitely applies to me as well. So I guess another question I want to ask, working from home and just, you're a full-time employee and you're working, how do you manage your time? What are some things you do to, make sure you're making time for your personal life or your job? How do you kind of divide that?
Um, Absolutely. I'm not the best one on that because I do not wasting,
Yeah.
but when you go to work, especially in United States, there's like a lot of rush hour traffic.
Mhm,
You make sure to get out of home like it's 9 a.m. to 7 a.m. to get there
mhm.
by 9 and coming back home. When you're at home, it's much better.
Yeah.
So you can spend those 2 hours that you used to commute to work back and forth for
Mhm,
something else.
mhm.
Uh, Especially in home, what I like is I just get out and walk every
Yeah.
2, 3 hours. And it's good for like, yeah, stress too much, like coding, debugging, not working. Yeah, let me take a walk and come back.
Mhm.
And other tasks, for example, like recording a video, I leave it at, for like later of the day.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, mostly I just like my work. I just don't work for 8 hours.
I see.
I can be staying up at night till 2 a.m. until I figure out there's a deadline or just like that because I want to finish more. So
Mhm,
there's nothing else important for me like holding me back. But there are a lot of side work as well as I said, as a tech company that we're working on. There are a lot of work on that too.
mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, the working from home gives you a lot of flexibility, and I'm not planning to go back to office.
I see. So you
I've
like working from home.
Yeah, I've said it to my employer because Mastercard they've set the policy
Mhm.
from November. Like I think they're already going back to office like 5 days a week.
Oh,
I
wow.
said, you let me know if I start looking for another job or I'm staying, but I'm not coming back to office.
Were they kind of very, like, forcing everyone to come back, or was it kind of volunteer basis?
No, it was the first for the last 3 4 months. It was voluntary based, 2 days a week.
Mhm,
But
mhm,
now a lot of companies making it mandatory
mhm,
unless you have your manager's approval and all of that.
mhm. I
Uh,
see.
yeah.
Alright, that makes sense. This one is a little bit, of a random question, but do you have a favorite quote? Like, if, the one that
Favorite
motivates
quote
you or.
is yeah. Uh, it's just 3 words that the one guy said. I forgot his name right now. You're gonna die.
Mm,
So that's what yeah, I that's the thing, and just keep work on it to do
yeah.
something about it, you know?
Yeah. No, that's that there's so many ways to think about that quote actually.
Yeah, you can think about worldly stuff, Like,
Mm,
do something about it just so people will remember you. Or it could be like religiously stuff as well,
mhm,
not just
mhm.
work. So as a
Yeah,
Muslim, we have to take both, right?
yeah.
We shouldn't be going just religious and forget about the work. We have to be number one on both. So like,
Mhm.
you're gonna die.
Yeah, that one hit me. That was a really good one. And somebody actually brought up a really good idea saying, Saidbek, yeah, are we allowed to meet you personally to get to know more about secrets of being a good programmer? Or can you organize a voice chat, Zoom meeting, or something else?
Yeah,
Um,
I'm thinking about it because I keep telling people I don't have time, I don't have time, but I do receive a lot of questions. And one day I just got thinking, like, all these people are reaching out to me with the questions. At
mhm,
least they're trying something to study. At least they're
mhm.
not watching those like unnecessary TikTok videos of
Yeah.
dancing people, all of that. So I should not make the excuse that I don't have time. My plan is starting in the next couple of weeks, at least once a week for 1 or 2 hours, just do a voice chat with the followers just for the Q&A.
Mhm.
It's- I have to think a different way instead of telling I don't have time, but that way, right? At least they're watching videos, they're learning, and they want to become a better person instead of they're not wasting their time. So yes, I'll start that soon. But there's no secret though of being a good
Yeah,
programmer.
I like when
Well,
people say it
practice
like
and
that.
study.
Yeah,
Practice studying.
there is no secret, just a lot of hard work and dedication.
Yeah, just like there's no like a magic pill to lose weight, right?
Exactly.
That's what they say in the US.
Yeah. So someone said that current days we're not able to see your videos. Did you have an answer for this? I guess. Oh, have you not been posting?
That's kind of right. I did post 2 last week, so I'll continue with that.
Yeah, you have a lot of people, I guess, looking forward to your videos. So
Yeah.
just wanted to put you on the spot, so you keep posting and helping our
I know
compatriots
I
there.
find I'm a guilty of that.
All right. And I guess just one last time, somebody missed when you mentioned this. You mentioned you had the online course in Osmandagi Balalar, which he qualified students before. How can we contact with him about it and get that course?
Yeah, that's my regarding the course in the US.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
the website is thelevelupsolutions.com. Or I have like they can leave the comment on this YouTube channel, and
Mhm.
I can just give them the link and just guide them on how to get started with that.
Yeah, and we can just leave the link down here, and whoever is interested can press on it later
Absolutely.
as well. Sounds good. And just one more question from the audience and then one question for me and we can wrap up. So, do
Sure.
you by any chance have any like top-notch books that a person has to read throughout the life? Like, do you have any books that you would like recommend or
All right. Yeah, there are a lot of books, and I recently bought a Kindle for myself because that was much easier. Because there are too many books and carry them since I've traveled.
Mhm.
Uzbekistan, I don't want
Yeah,
to carry them all the
yeah.
time. It depends. Umi Janake, my mentor in business, all that, he said, when I asked him, do you read a book? He said, depends.
Mhm.
If I feel I'm lacking on something, that's the topic I read the book on. For example,
Mhm.
if I'm lacking on confidence or my time management, I read the book on that. Or if I'm
Mm.
lacking like a business knowledge, like how to
Right.
start a business, like accounting, I read the book on that.
Mhm.
So if I'm lacking my programming knowledge, I read the book on programming.
Mhm.
So it depends. For must read, I should make a list or something. Whether it's programming or personal development or business, it's
Mhm.
varies.
Yeah, for sure. There are a lot of books. So that makes sense. Thank you. And my last question was just about our organization, Uzbek Diaspora Organization overall.
Mhm.
What do you think about this project? What kind of maybe additions or improvements do you think we can make? Do you have any advice and tips for us before we can wrap up?
Absolutely. Uh, so our goal, me and yours, are I believe it's the same. If
Mhm.
mine's not less, it's all about like Uzbek diaspora.
Yeah.
Let's say it's not for people in mostly in Uzbekistan. It's
Yeah.
like a diaspora is like outside.
Mhm.
It's really good to show other immigrants who like migrated to different country to show those successful people who are working at Tesla or Google or this or making their businesses.
Mhm.
as I said, most people surround themselves with the average people and they stay average.
Mhm.
It's really good to encourage them, like, hey, he was just like you. He came to US and he's
Yeah.
like a millionaire now, or he's doing this. He's working for Tesla.
Mhm.
That's really good encouragement, and that's what pushes. That answer for that question, why we don't have developers in the AAA game companies or on big tech companies.
Mhm.
People don't know. They think it's impossible. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just a driver. How am I gonna get there?
Yeah.
No, just do it.
Mhm.
It's not just motivation. It's realistic. It's practical.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say you can become a millionaire because I'm not a millionaire myself and I'm not an
Mhm.
entrepreneur myself. But I can encourage and help people to become a developer, at least to have a better life, better living.
Mhm. Right. Right.
It's absolutely possible. It's not something impossible. You have to have a special skill or oh, if you talk to me, I keep telling you, I'm not a very good, like strong super
Yeah.
programmer. I'm
Mhm.
just kind of average, but yeah, that's how they make it here. You don't have to be super duper. If you're super top notch, you're gonna make $1 million a year. There
Yeah.
are people in Google and other companies, they do make this money.
Mhm. Mhm. That
It's
makes
cool.
sense. Well, thank you so much. Did you have anything you wanted to add before we wrap up? Maybe say
Yeah,
any last word.
there's the last one thing is when I was studying Arabic and there's like a speaker called Noman Ali Khan, right? I keep
Mhm.
this a lot. He explained, for example, people complain about something. Let's say they want to study the Quran, they say, oh,
Mhm.
Arabic is hard, or they want to study coding. We can implement to this anything the person wants to study.
Mhm.
Oh, coding is hard, there's too much to memorize, this and that. He gives an example. Just imagine if there's a garden with a full of trees and it got burned down. So 20 years pass. Do you keep complaining during these 20 years that garden is burned, what we're gonna do? Or do you put on a single tree every day for the next 20 years? And
Yeah.
what the outcome is going to be? So
That's
depending
true.
on whatever you want to learn, let's say programming, just spend 1 hour a day for next year.
Yeah.
You will see the difference.
Mhm.
Instead of just asking questions, looking for motivation, just start doing it. 1 hour a
Mhm.
day, and you'll see the result in a year
Yeah.
or 6 months. Depends. That's
Mhm.
what I wanted like to say to my
Wow.
students.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone, just like myself, was very motivated by today's
Yeah,
interview
of
and
course.
very
Thank you.
inspired to go learn programming. I might even start. So, thank you so much for coming in today, for speaking to us, answering all the questions from our Uzbek diaspora members. This was definitely a very interesting, very informative, and beneficial interview. So, thank you so much.
Sure.
Really
Yeah,
appreciate
if
your
there's
time.
anything in the future that I can do for Uzbek diaspora, I'm more than happy to help and do all this stuff for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.